Look who it is. We'll get to what he's wearing in just a second. This is Prince Amukamara, a 10-year cornerback in the NFL. How close are you following the game still?
Close enough.
It's fine to say not at all.
Close enough. Close
Okay.
enough. Close enough. I just always ask myself, gosh, could I play right now if they asked me? And it's no, just because I can't, because I have to hit as a corner, and I can't turn on that mentality to hit anymore.
When
So
did
I do
it become
pickleball.
that? When did the answer become no?
I would say sometime last year.
Yeah?
Yeah.
You said pickleball's the thing now?
Yeah, I like pickleball now.
You in America.
I know, right?
Prince, talk to us about what you're doing here at the Super Bowl.
Yeah, so I'm here with my kids channel, Mr. A Adventures, hence the A and Mr. A on the back.
Yeah.
And so we focus on all things educational, nutritional, and performance. So there'll be segments of me at a park, and I'm teaching kids about letters and animals, and then you'll see me with your favorite professional athlete asking questions about, hey, what's your favorite fruit or vegetable?
Asking questions in what voice? Can you ask it as Mr. A?
All right.
What's
So,
your favorite fruit or
what's your first
vegetable?
name?
Sean.
Sean. So I'm like, hi, Sean. So our A squad members want to know, what's your favorite fruit or vegetable you like to eat right before the game? And then so
You're going for the blippy
I
crowd.
love that.
Yes,
Take it.
exactly,
Take it.
exactly. Yeah.
A becomes before B.
Exactly. Oh my gosh, thank you.
She knows. She's
What
a
was
pro.
in your
Welcome.
coffee? That's good. You're on it.
Prince, I feel like you're doing so much educational stuff for so many people. I don't know if you're cool. We could talk a little bit, maybe
For
a little
sure.
bit more about educating some of the people. You know, one thing we're doing at SumerSports is we're using computer vision. We're using our AI to help build our scouting staff and how they are looking at players. You're getting a little bit of that objective eye as well as the subjective eye. I'm just gonna show you one play real quick from Jaden Daniels against the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. Defense, we're playing 2-man. We're gonna have off-man coverage. Really, our whole entire concept on offense, just that dagger concept, Prince. You had to deal with that on the
Right.
outside how many times, right? You're gonna get that clear out route. You're gonna have someone trying to push you just a little bit outside before you're breaking in. This is gonna be our target here. I wanna run the play where you can see the dots on the right side here, and we're gonna talk about expected targeted receiver probability on the bottom here. I'm just gonna run the play here again. 2-man, we're playing man, we're getting that clear out, we're getting it across. Wide open, Jaden Daniels. I mean, he was a lot of fun to watch this year, right?
Yes, he was.
So on our bottom here is we're actually tracking who the most likely receiver is to be targeted. And look how it is really, really early on gonna tell you that De'Ami Brown, that outside receiver running that inbreaker, he's gonna be the most targeted route. So I don't know, you're playing a corner, you're trying to grade the corner. How are you feeling? You're in off coverage. What's your approach when you're in off coverage on that kind of in-breaking route?
Well, if I'm in off coverage 2-man, I'm thinking, okay, I can let the guy beat me because I'm in 2-man. I have help over the top, but I know that the hole is inside, and so, but I know I have to slip that though, like what that DB is doing.
So how are you feeling? You think, hey, maybe you take that away a little bit more? Or what's your grade? You don't have to grade too hard, you know?
Yeah, I mean it's tough. It's tough. I should be, look, he's too high, right? It's 2-man. He should be under that because he has help right here. So the corner, the corner kind of gets graded down on that.
You think that's because they're in this bunch right here? So that's going to force him off? Like, hey, maybe we want to make it look a little bit.
Right.
We'll kind of give him a zone pressure presentation. Is that what is kind of going on there?
Yes, and sometimes they can communicate and they'll say in and out. So they'll lock this guy and then in and out between 1 and 3, which is Ertz and the receiver up top. But because Ertz blocked, now I lock on my guy. So it happens in a quick second. He knew what he was doing. He was just too high on that. He should have slipped in.
And it feels like between this, obviously between you being able to play, it feels like you can take that and maybe even, you point out your cornerback, hey, on this play, we went through our system. This is where your coverage grade was just, a little bit lower in terms of our metrics. And you can, I think, learn from that and you're able to improve.
I always wonder too, and I'm looking at it, you've been in a lot of those like post-game meetings, like Monday, Tuesday when you're watching the tape. I wonder what it would look like if you have these types of things attached to that session, right?
yeah.
Like somebody who, where there's a pattern of behavior, maybe if you could show the probabilities attached to that and you can see it, and like people are different types of learners, since you're in education, know that. And I kind of wonder how that might be valuable for somebody sitting in like a meeting room taking in criticism.
Yeah, I can see that, especially because, like you said, like how fast in the play until you get the high probability?
I mean, you're seeing it pretty early on. for this one, right? You're seeing really on that release, obviously, I mean, he's going to be in off coverage. Everyone else is going to be kind of tighter with safeties over the top. It's telling you pretty early on where he's already breaking your cushion. And it's also taking into account where are my hips at. It's taking into account, hey, look, I understand you're not playing catch necessarily, but you're flat-footed here. Obviously, this guy's chasing. So where you're at, this guy's coming at full speed at you. You're in a little bit of a tough spot there. So do you think you'd be able to, in that meeting room, you're talking to your DBs and you're feeling like, hey, this could be a tool that, maybe we're using that to help out when coaches are looking at it.
100%. And then they'll tell me, hey, okay, when they get in this formation, because you see if you play, you see this guy kind of stop on on a hitch route. So then Pittman goes off, not Pittman,
Or the safety is, yeah.
Safety, yeah. Whitfield comes off and then goes and looks for whatever's coming inside. So, I'm sure that would.
And I really like that because, there's going to be teams in the league where they're going to find different ways against trips to get that weak safety working to that front side. If you're comfortable with this matchup one-on-one, and, it even could be a game planning type thing where, look, I'm comfortable in this sort of situation.
Lock him up.
Yeah, and then you can just say, hey, once you're breaking like 3-4 yards, if I'm not feeling that hard outside release, let's go work out front side, and maybe we could take away that dagger going inside.
That's good.
I want to ask you a question about, this is almost like a post-evaluation situation. We're in draft season right now.
Right.
So when we're looking for cornerbacks and all these different evaluations are taking place, we just left the Senior Bowl where there's a lot of one-on-ones and there's one viral play, right? How do you think if you were going to tell a front office, okay, having been through this and done this, here's what I maybe would look at differently, value differently. What would your contribution to that conversation be, do you think?
Are we talking about physical-wise on the corner?
Any of it. If you're telling a front office, or a coaching staff or a general manager or a scout, here's what you guys are missing. Here's what I would keep in mind or value more than this other thing. Is there anything that you would suggest?
I would say tell them to put more value on catching the ball from a corner perspective.
Yeah.
I think coaches are kind of somewhat happy about guys knocking down balls, PBUs, but you see guys like Richard Sherman, who I came out with, who was a converted wide receiver into a corner, and there's a time where he was the least targeted but still had the most picks. And those picks turned into opportunities for the offense. So catching the ball, and I got to play with a guy by the name of Patrick Peterson later in my career. And even Byron Murphy, who plays now for the Vikings. And those guys have probably one of the best hands. And so corners, we know you get paid by the balls you catch, the balls you take away. So catching the ball, I think I'd put a lot of emphasis on that.
And Murphy's a great example. This year had a really good season coming down with those interceptions. When we look at the plays that are the most impactful on a team's win probability, creating a turnover, that is a huge impactful play.
Yeah.
So good.
And our coaches actually, they'll do presentations and they'll say, hey, this week on Wednesday, it'll be turnover. And they'll say, hey, through 8 weeks, teams that turned over the ball or defenses that got 2 turnovers won 80% of the time. So now we go in, okay, D linemen, strip sack, corners, catch the balls, and so that information is super useful and gets us hyped up as a defense.
Wait, did you just give us a data probability point?
Yeah,
I love this.
That's what it says.
Pretty much.
I'm saying I love that. even over the years, because I feel like it's tilting more towards incorporation of data, and rather than it feels like it used to be a little bit more. Even just 5 years ago, it was old school football versus the nerds, and now it's merging a little
100%.
bit more. All of the data can help you, and it all requires context. But it's interesting to me that even when you were playing towards the beginning, they're still talking in probabilities. Yes. They just don't think of it as analytics or. That's a separate conversation about eliminating that word and replacing it with probability.
Just information. It's
whatever.
Data.
I wonder who gives Dan Campbell his data. They said.
I think Dan Campbell. Dan Campbell's. I know they have an incrable staff, but I do like that Campbell. He is a lean, aggressive guy, and so there are times where he's gone for it.
Can't be gut.
I'm not saying it's fully gut. I do think he's informed by that. I think he has the support from the top down. But there are situations where the numbers would say, "Hey, Dan, you maybe could have kicked in that way." But look, if that's your team's identity, that's something you're going to buy into. You'd be pissed off if Dan was kicking a field goal or something like that.
Even when was it? Patriots and Seahawks Super Bowl. Marshawn Lynch is thinking, give me the effing ball. Why are we? But did the Patriots get some type of date? Patriots, they did say they got data.
Formation, alignment, all that kind of stuff. down and distance tendencies. And that's stuff that since you were in Pee-wees, like you're talking about, hey, this is what it's doing. All that is just data. It's 100%. More information. All this is just more information that you're able to use.
I mean, you brought up Dan Campbell, and then we'll let you go. I know you've got a lot of places that you need to be. I'm curious about the coaches that are out there now that are newer. I mean, he's not new, but he's a newer head coach, right? Like a Kevin O'Connell. I'm seeing a different style of coaching that I'm picking up on in like the locker room post-game speeches and stuff. Very different than the Belichickian
100%
style that was so popular for so long. Do you have any thoughts on kind of this new wave of approach in that way?
I mean, like you said before we got on, steez, like players love that, like a coach with like swag. If a coach comes in and almost did a twist, but I don't know what that.
Hey, you can do it.
I don't know what that.
Your steez might be different than her steez. That's what it is.
If a coach comes in and does like a cool dance, or even when a coach, like we saw Sirianni wearing CJ Gardner's chain and stuff like that. Like you love that a coach can relate, and the players coach is a term we call it, a coach that's for the players. I mean that helps a lot. I mean, I had Tom Coughlin. Like I tell everyone, I went from Coughlin, which was like private school, to what's his name, Gus Bradley, who came from the P. Carroll tree, to like public school. Like we're wearing hats in meetings, we're watching music videos in meetings, and Coughlin was same socks, no music at practice. Coughlin won.
You had no music.
I mean, we were at the Shrine Bowl. No music at practice is tough. Yeah, that's tough. Yeah.
Unsubscribe. No, thank you. Prince, thank you so much for stopping by. This has been fun.
Thanks for having me.
Thanks, Prince.